Well, hello there. How is everyone? I hope you're all well. You amazing, amazing, beautiful, wonderful people. It's Friday, baby. It's Friday. And, what a week has been. What a week has been. Some bad news yesterday. I only did one video yesterday for little Audrey, who was sadly found deceased. But today we are just talking about a couple of things that have been hot in my emails regarding the Idaho 4 case. I know for some people they've had enough of the Idaho 4 case, and next week we'll be touching on some other bits and pieces. But I always want to address things that are brought to me, and one of these things in particular is something that has been a consistent thing, and that is the Linda Lane audio. I know that there are a lot of channels who are talking about the Linda Lane audio. I have spent a lot of time listening to the Linda Lane audio. And in a second, we're going to talk about the 8-hour time delay, but not like we've talked about it before. But the Linda Lane audio footage, I have been sent a lot of audio clips, including some just yesterday, which was segments of things that have been cleaned up and cleared up. But let me just say, with regards to the Linda Lane audio, this is the way I'm concluding the Linda Lane audio. There is some stuff that has been sent, but the issue that we have with the Linda Lane audio, there has been so many people who have been involved in it that we don't now know what the original audio is. Now, it is very, very easy to create audio and insert things into audio and to make audio do whatever we want to make it paint specific pictures. Now, most of what I have been sent, where people have said, look, this is the audio that I have and this is what I can hear within that audio, I cannot for the life of me hear what these people are saying. Now, I'm not saying that they can't hear it. I'm just saying that by the time it's been compressed and then resent to me, I've then reopened it, I've then put it through the programs that I have. I do not have the facility. And don't get me wrong, I've got some very, very good equipment in order to clean up audio. And I simply cannot. Do you want to see who this is? I simply cannot, for the life of me, find it. I can't hear what the vast majority of people are saying. Now, again, what I'm not going to say is that what they're saying exists doesn't exist. I wouldn't say that. That would be wrong of me. But it would also be wrong of me to say that what they're saying they can hear, I can hear, and then roll on with that. But there are certainly things on that audio. And what I will say is, if that audio is accurate and what these people are saying that they can hear on there and when they can hear these things on there, and don't get me wrong, there's things that you have to question because people have said, look, I can hear, for instance, someone has said, we can hear the mention of a man's name. I'm not going to say what that man's name is, but they've said that there is a man's name. There's a conversation, there is a man, and this person has heard it, and he has subsequently looked into who is registered as living within this area, and there's a man matching what he feels he hears. So there's a potential that is absolutely accurate, and he is hearing that. The downside is what we're hearing or what he's saying that he hears, we don't know how that then plays into the Idaho 4 situation, because it seems that there was a lot of stuff going on around there. This wasn't just an absolutely dead of night place with nothing happening, no one about. We know that there was parties going on. We know that there was drunk people around, not only parties, and there was no doubt people drinking in houses. What people, I think, struggle with is the fact that these cameras, that they weren't trained, and what I mean by trained, the audio wasn't trained on one specific place, meaning they weren't just pointing at 1122 King Road, so everything you hear on this audio comes from that property. The camera itself, if it's picking up audio from 1122 King Road, then it's going to be picking up audio from its own complex, the complex that it is attached to. So unless they are all dead silent, and everything in between and within the same radius of that camera in every direction, then you don't know where that sound is coming from. What we're trying to ascertain is the audio that people are saying, I can hear this, I can hear that, is what relevance it has. What relevance does it have to the Idaho 4 case? Now, when people are saying that they specifically hear Xana's name or Ethan's name, then obviously that's going to prick someone's curiosity. But I am yet to hear that. And even if I was to hear it, I would still question its authenticity, because I know how easy it is to manipulate audio, and I've seen it done. We know that some of that audio that was presented to people way back when had been manipulated. I showed it on this channel, including showing the original clip that it had been cut from, and so did, I believe it was Ikid Mel as well. He showed it. And so we know that there is a manipulated version of that audio out there. There was a segment of audio that had been extracted from a real argument between a couple, you know, and that was used. Now, I'm not saying that's what we're seeing here. I'm just saying that I cannot lean too heavily on the Linda Lane footage. We know that there's some footage or something that is being dealt with in terms of the Idaho 4 case and the prosecution and defence. We know that, but we're not 100% sure what piece of footage they're talking about, what video evidence it is. We know there's a load of video evidence there. But second part of this video is this. So with regards to the 8-hour time delay, now, what I will say is there's a lot of things that happen on the audio, what people are claiming is happening on this audio, which would point to a potential for this crime to have started much earlier. And when we consider the 8-hour time delay, I think we get stuck in our minds at the time frame of this crime, because we have been told that the crime happened at a certain time. We've been told that a certain person entered a certain house at a certain time and left at a certain time, and it ended at 4:20 a.m. with a specific vehicle leaving the area at pace. And that is the scenario that we're being pushed and the time frame that we're being pushed. And it seems that the entire time frame and the entire series of events has been, and I've said this in the past, simply controlled by one of the people who was left alive inside the property. Now, I don't know any other crime off the top of my head, certainly, where the surviving people in a mass murder inside a house has been treated with such kid gloves. Such kid gloves and protected. And I've also never seen a situation where James Fry, for instance, comes out and says that they are not witnesses. They are not witnesses. I never said they were witnesses. I said they were there. I didn't say they were witnesses. But then that completely turns around on its head, and all of a sudden you've got a witness there. And not only a witness, but the person who controls the entire narrative of this time frame. Now, unless that eyewitness could have corroborated seeing someone in that property at a specific time, then the White Hyundai Elantra wouldn't have even played into things, because they wouldn't have even been looking at camera footage at that time. Now, Ann Taylor has always alluded to the fact that Brian Kohberger may have been in that area, but she's saying he wasn't in that area at the time of the crime. Now, I believe, and I still believe, I've always believed, that Bethany Funk did indeed see someone in that property. I believe she saw someone in that property, and I believe she saw them in that property way earlier on in the evening. Way earlier on in the evening. And if there was text messages between these two girls, I wonder whether the text messages had started earlier and continued And I wonder whether they had at any point tried to interact with the other housemates. Now, I am spitballing there because we also know that there was a DoorDash delivery, so on and so forth, but we don't know who placed that DoorDash delivery. There's never been any true confirmation of who did it. We've been told what phone was used, but that could have been anyone that used a phone. It could have been ordered earlier and delivered at that time. We don't know what went on there. And also we've heard that Xana's phone was on TikTok at 4:12. We don't know if that was on the entire evening until that time, and that just happened to be when it came off of social media. And was that because of a dead battery? Had the phone been on social media and left auto running and the phone just happened to die then? Or are they saying that the phone hadn't been on social media and it happened to log into social media at 4:12 a.m? Because I would say that if the phone hadn't been online at all, and then all of a sudden the phone pings up on social media at 4:12 a.m, then that to me looks suspicious. That to me would, in my mind, would say that that is someone trying to make it look like at 4:12 a.m. someone is still alive by placing that phone onto social media. So I wanted to know, with regards to the PCA, what the relevance of 4:12 is in terms of Xana Kanoodle's internet use. Is that when that clicks off of social media, or when it clicks on, or is it, or again, has it been on for a period of time and they just randomly said that that was on at that time? Do you know what I mean? Or maybe it had been on all evening, like I say, and just clicked off at 4:12. But again, if there's a noise, if there's something that shocks someone, would they log off it or would they leave it playing? There's a lot of things around that. But the 8 hours has only been put in place because of, like I say, the scenario that we've been given. This could, in effect, be a lot longer period of time if this happened much earlier in the evening. And flip that on its head, it could be less time, because we could have been seeing an argument that spilled out and carried on through the evening, and this happened way later in the evening than we know. So let's not dwell too much on what happened in the 8 hours, because we've talked about clear-ups, we've talked about this, that and the other. And not being funny, but 8 hours is a hell of a long time. What would you need 8 hours for to clear up? I think we've succumbed to the idea that I don't think that there was any blood or anything cleared up in that house. I did a video the other day with respect of the footprint and so on and so forth. I don't believe that they attempted to clean up the footprint. I don't believe that happened. I don't believe that. And if they had to remove something from the property before law enforcement were called, what in the fuck would take 8 hours unless they were running some kind of massive scheme out of the house and it was dismantling whatever they had to do to get the whole thing out of the house? The 8 hour time frame is important, but it's important in understanding how long that period of time is. And what many of us are considering happened in that period of time would have only taken a fraction of it. So it's a difficult one to swallow. It's a difficult one to swallow. You have to consider that something else happened. Something else was happening in this house. It happened later, it happened earlier, or Dylan and Bethany were indeed asleep, or whatever happened and they decided to go to sleep. Because 8 hours is a long time to sit in that house, knowing what had happened in that house, and just sit there. Now, I'm not saying anyone's innocent of anything, as equally as I am saying there's no one as guilty as anything, because nothing's been proven. I won't even say that for Brian Kohberger. But this case stinks. Absolutely stinks. And there's still a lot of questions that need answering. Let me know down below. What is your main question at the stage? Whatever you are, whether you're, I believe Brian Kohberger did it, or I don't think Brian Kohberger did it, or I thought, what is the questions that you would want answering in this case? What do you want to know? What do you feel is missing? Let me know down below, and maybe we might together be able to fill in some of them gaps. Have a fantastic Friday, you amazing people. It's only been one video today because I'm off to London. And if you're really lucky, I'll do a video in London for you. And I'll catch you all in the next one.